Hyperplasia. Hyperplasia is increase in the number of cells which lead to increase in size of the organ. Hyperplasia is increase in the number of cells which lead to increase in size of the organ. Mechanism: growth factor induced proliferation of mature cells. Mechanism of hyperplasia: growth factor induced proliferation of mature cells. Growth factor induced proliferation of mature cells. Hyperplasia usually occurs in the dividing cells. Hypertrophy, it occurs in non-dividing cells, and hyperplasia, it occurs in dividing cells. The dividing cells can undergo both hyperplasia and hypertrophy. Example of physiological hyperplasia. Example of physiological hyperplasia: breast during pregnancy, breast during puberty are example of physiological hyperplasia. Breast during puberty, breast during pregnancy, these are example of physiological hyperplasia. Then liver after partial hepatectomy. Liver after partial hepatectomy is an example of compensatory physiological hyperplasia. Example of physiological hyperplasia: breast during puberty, breast during pregnancy. And liver after partial hepatectomy is an example of physiological hyperplasia. Pathological hyperplasia occurs due to hormonal excess, like increased androgen leads to benign prostate hyperplasia. Benign prostatic hyperplasia is an example of pathologic hyperplasia. Increased estrogen leads to endometrial hyperplasia. BPH and endometrial hyperplasia are example of pathological hyperplasia. Benign prostate hyperplasia and endometrial hyperplasia are example of pathological hyperplasia. Hyperplastic proliferation are a fertile soil in which cancers can grow. Hyperplastic proliferation are the fertile soils in which cancers can grow. Example: endometrial hyperplasia can lead to endometrial cancer. Endometrial hyperplasia can lead to endometrial cancer. There are certain examples of both hypertrophy and hyperplasia. Hypertrophy means increase in the size of cell. Hyperplasia means increase in number of cell. So breast during puberty and pregnancy, uterus during pregnancy is an example of both hypertrophy and hyperplasia. Breast during puberty and pregnancy and uterus during pregnancy. Breast during puberty and pregnancy and uterus during pregnancy is an example of both hypertrophy and hyperplasia.